Hey everyone, today I wanted to do a quick review and comparison on a couple products that I bought recently for my new Christmas gift, which was my iPad. So here's the iPad as you can see here, and one of the first things I decided I wanted to do once I received this was make sure I got some protection on the metallic back here, and at least on the corners for if I drop it on accident or something like that, and potentially even on the screen itself, although I hear the screen is pretty resilient against scratches. So what I did was I went over to Best Buy because I wanted something right away and there weren't a lot of cheaper prices online, and I just wanted to take a look at what they had, and I found two cases that both interested me. The first one is by Griffin. Here's the packaging right here. I didn't want to stick it back in the packaging, and it's called the Griffin Reveal for iPad, and this is what it looks like. It is more of a bumper, so it's got a rubbery edge here that goes around the edges and protects the corners of your iPad, and then it's got a clear backing here that will protect the metal back. Okay, so it's just a sort of a sleeve here with no front cover over the screen. This was on clearance around Christmas time at Best Buy for about $15, down from $30 to $40, or I guess $40 to $50 retail. The other thing I picked up was a little bit more intriguing to me, and this was a case by Incase called the magazine jacket, or the convertible magazine jacket. This is what the package looks like for this. And here's the actual case itself. And as you can see, this has more of a book format where I can actually open and close the front flap here, and I can also pull this elastic strap over the top to hold the front flap closed. Okay? So you can see that now if my iPad was in here, this would actually be held closed and the screen would be protected. It does protect the corners, although you notice the whole bottom, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the entire, maybe I'll open it up to show you. The entire bottom edge is open and the entire top edge is open. So it's more of a back and corner protection, a little bit less protection on the sides, I suppose, or the top and bottom. So let's talk about what I decided to go with here. Or actually, let's talk about the pros and the cons of each of these cases first. I'll start with the Griffin, since that's the order that I was going in. The thing I like about this particular case is that I really like the way that it looks when you've applied it to your iPad. And this probably looks all fingerprint because I've used it a bit since I've purchased it. But I really like the way it looks. I really like that you can still see the metallic back through the case and the Apple logo, and it looks sleek, and it's got the black around the edge, and I actually think it's got kind of a cool industrial look to it. The other thing I really like is it doesn't add much bulk to your iPad at all. I can barely tell that it's on there. It's a little bit more substantial, but it's very lightweight, and it feels like it'd be pretty decent protection if I were to drop the iPad on the ground. The things that I really don't like about it as much, the most obvious thing is that it doesn't protect the screen of the iPad at all. The other thing that I don't like is that the buttons, I don't know if you can see these here, but the buttons on the side, there's a cutout for the mute button, but the other volume rocker buttons are actually those pressure buttons like you find on cell phone cases, and the power button is the same. And once this is applied to the iPad, these buttons are a little bit hard to press, and they're also a little bit finicky because of the way the pressure is applied around this edge of the case here. So those are my two main gripes with this case. Otherwise, I really like it in terms of appearance, general simplicity, and obviously the price, because this was actually significantly cheaper than the convertible magazine jacket, which I actually got on a price mistake for $40. So this was almost 3 times the price of the Griffin. So let's talk about the Incase a little bit. And actually I'm going to put the iPad in the Incase so you can see kind of what that looks like. And it goes in here really nice and easily. You just kind of snap in the 4 corners, and the iPad is now in. And I can close it up, and you can kind of see what that looks like. It's really slick. The buttons actually have cutouts, and the cutouts are a little bit deep, so it may be hard to kind of get your finger into the cutout. But overall, I think it's a little bit easier to work the volume rocker here, and the power button is certainly easier because there's nothing, and there's my cat, there's nothing around the power button, so it's easy to press. Things that I like about this case, I like the fact that it protects the front. I actually really like the texture. It's got this nice kind of soft touch texture. And I also like the fact that you've got a couple different ways that you can prop the lid, or I guess the cover, so that you can use it as a stand. So I have it on the lowest setting right now, which they call like the working level, which is if you put it on your lap, it props it up into a nice typing position. And there's a couple other positions too. I always kind of forget how these work here, but I guess you go this way and you can prop it up for viewing on a table. And then there's one other way you can prop this up a little bit higher than that. I actually haven't used it yet, but there's three different ways you can prop it up. And I really like that feature. I want to talk about some of the things that I really don't like about this particular case. The first one is if you take a look at it, I don't know if you can see that here. Yeah, you can kind of see that if I just let the case lay flat here, there's actually a space between the lid and the screen of my iPad. You can see light is kind of sneaking through there. It's weird, it just doesn't quite lay flush. The other thing is this band that you pull over, you kind of have to flip it as you are pulling it over the top, and it's actually kind of a pain. I just did it pretty smoothly there. And once you flip it over, it kind of adds like this little bulky, like it should be a little bit lower profile. I think they could have worked out a little bit better secure mechanism. But you can see that even when the band is in place, holding the cover, so you can't shake it open, you can see that I still have a space there. Which, I mean, it's not really a big deal, but it's just kind of an annoying design flaw in a case that's going to cost you about 50 bucks. Okay, so that's a couple things that I don't like. The other thing, and this is probably the biggest thing that I don't like about this case, is the fact that it kind of hampers the maneuverability. It's got these bumps on the back in order to use as positions to prop up the lid for the different viewing angles. And what that means is that when I want to use it as just a tablet, I have to fold the flat back, and what you can see is it doesn't actually like lay that flat. Okay? So like if I don't put my hand on it at all, that's what it looks like. It's not a lot of pressure there, but okay? So it doesn't lay flat because of those bumps. And what that does is that reduces the mobility as a tablet. So when I'm playing a game or something, this is a lot less comfortable, and rotating it around, you kind of have to make sure you're holding the case on the back, and it's not as comfortable to hold. Okay? So those are the things that I don't like about this case. I think it's a really nice looking case. I like the fact that it covers the front, but those couple things that I just showed you were reasons why I chose to keep the Griffin case. I'm going to go ahead and return this one. I'm going to take it out of this, and I'm going to cut the video for a second while I put the iPad into the Griffin case so you can see what that looks like as well. Okay, so now I've applied the Griffin case so you guys can see what that looks like on the iPad. This is what the back of it looks like, which looks almost like a stock iPad with a little bit of extra shininess here, as well as the black border. One thing you might be hard for you to see in the video is it's got a little square ridge right here. It's not a tall ridge, but just enough to make it so it doesn't rock as much when you set it down on the back. And from the front, it looks pretty much just like an iPad. It does have a little bit of a lip around the edge where the rubber is raised. So if you were to drop it exactly face down, or face down on a flat surface, you actually wouldn't scratch the screen. If you dropped it on some gravel or something, I'm sure you would. But and then you can kind of see the buttons here, and actually I can kind of show you. I press volume up. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm pressing up. And the reason it doesn't work is because of the way the pressure is applied. So I have to kind of hold this a certain way, and then volume up will work. And I've actually gotten used to the volume up and down the way they work, and it doesn't bother me. I've actually chosen to use this one for a while now. I really like the way it looks, although the volume buttons are finicky and the power button's a little bit harder to press. I can't really complain too much for 15 bucks. So of these two cases, I picked the Reveal for iPad by Griffin. Again, it was $15 at Best Buy. I think it's back up to like $40 now. But even for $40, I think I'd prefer to have this case on my iPad than the Incase Convertible magazine jacket. Please leave comments or questions below, and I look forward to doing another review for you guys again soon. Thanks for watching.